welcome. Today is Wednesday. Today is live stream day, which means right here in our private group, Superpowers for Entrepreneurs, am coming to you with some topic that I find is relevant to our discussion. As we know, this group is very, very powerful. This is called Superpowers for Entrepreneurs, but what does that even mean? You probably came in because you were referred here. Maybe somebody suggested that you join the group, or maybe you saw some content that I had put out. A lot of content that I do has to do with this wheel of life, right? There's 8 categories, and my whole concept is we can actually improve the balance of all 8 using the Pareto principle by focusing on the 20% that we're not doing. Most of the time, for experienced entrepreneurs, that means health, mindset, time, productivity, right? Fixing these things can really fix a business and fix a lot of other stuff in the meantime. So today's topic is unlocking true potential, right? Why did I name it that? Subtitle: How to hack motivation, focus, passion, and drive to live the life you deserve, right? Okay, before I dive in, housekeeping stuff. I go live in the Facebook group. Last week's live I didn't do through Zoom because of technical issues. We're back on Zoom, which means my VIPs, my consulting clients, people in my workshop get to be live on Zoom with me. And that means if they have questions, I'm going to see them right in the chat in Zoom, which is real time. On my other screen over here, I do have the Facebook Live up, but the comments are a little bit delayed. So if you're asking questions on the Facebook Live, remember, well, if you're already a client, jump into the Zoom because I probably sent you the link already, because then I'll see it real time. But if you're not a client, just remember, VIPs get first right of refusal for questions, and then I'm going to be looking at the Facebook page after that. So it looks like on the Facebook side, we have Lilia, and we have, sorry if I butcher this, looks like Danae. Maybe you could tell me how to pronounce your name. Denny, I don't know how to say it, but last name is Reed. 2 Reeds on here. I don't know if you guys are related, Lilia and Denine, I don't know. Okay, tell me how to say your name. All right, let's dive into this topic because I slated 25 minutes. Those of you guys that know me know that I can talk for a very, very, very long time, and I can go off on tangents and stuff like this, which is always very entertaining to people, but we want to stay laser focused. So let's dive right in. If you guys are new, welcome to the group. All right. What is potential? Okay. I Googled this right before I went live here, and I put it in my little Evernote. And the actual definition is latent qualities or abilities that may be developed and lead to future success or usefulness. Interesting, right? So this is one of these quirky things that I say, and there's a couple others like me in this mindset space that are sort of leading this charge. So I don't like negative language, right? Negative self-talk is a self-fulfilling prophecy. So if I say things like, I'll never grow my business, I'm a victim, I just can't do this or that, I don't have time, blah, blah, blah. I'm going to share a secret with you. I think the word potential is limiting in itself. Okay? It suggests that there actually is an actual limit to where we can go. And within the constraints of actual physics, I don't believe there are limits for people. Okay. It doesn't matter what our IQ is. It matters more what our EQ is. Okay. That's emotional intelligence, right? More people are successful with a higher EQ, but guess what? EQ can be trained. It doesn't matter if we were born in poverty or if we were born rich. None of this matters for where we can go. Why? Because it is our choice. A lot of people reject that. The first thing that I do with all of my clients is, well, after a lot of assessments, is we go into mindset training because 100% of them carry with them limiting beliefs. I have my own. I've had to destroy a lot of my limiting beliefs, and it's led to, frankly, a lot of success, especially recently, because a lot of these epiphanies have come to me in more recent years. Most of them have actually come up since I had my kids. And I know a lot of men are like this. They have a lot of these revelations and things that happen because, oh, I created life and now I'm responsible for other people other than my wife and stuff like that. So, okay, I don't want to go off on that topic. I want to go into motivation, and I'm going to go through all this stuff and then we'll bring it back to potential. But first of all, if you eliminate the belief that you're limited by some arbitrary person's definition of potential, that's the first step to unlocking it, right? Get rid of that belief. Actually, I want to tell a story before I go into motivation. So I was a hockey coach for a long time, and I played hockey as a kid. And when I was coaching, I spent more time in the stands with hockey parents. You know, if our kids play hockey, we'll just be parents, probably won't coach. Anyway, when a mom or a dad is sitting in the stands and they look at little Johnny and they turn to their other parent who is their friend and they say, "Oh, little Johnny just isn't performing to his potential." So right there, the parent put a limit on that kid, because what is the potential? We know that they can be better than what they are right now, but then the parent has actually placed a limit on what that could be, right? So that's the message that the kid is hearing. So you guys, it takes some deep work to get rid of some of these limiting beliefs. Our parents did not do this on purpose, okay? They were trying to do what was best for us. Most parents still, even using that term, potential, think that they are doing something good for their kid, right? They don't believe that it's a limiter. But by putting this frame on it, it absolutely is. So when I asked in the group yesterday or the other day, hey, what is your obstacle right now? And I heard some good ones, right? Some of them were like myself, my mindset, but other people said time or money. Now, those two things are tied to mindset and potential. Okay, so let's move on to motivation, which is one of my favorite topics coming out of coaching athletics, coaching some of the best athletes in the world, literally. Motivation is a big topic. Believe it or not, some of the best athletes that I've coached aren't always motivated to reach a new goal, right? For example, I was coaching a national champion weightlifter, and she was a multi-sport athlete, and even though she wanted to win nationals, and we got multiple medals, meaning top 1, 2, or 3 in the nation, multiple years running. But finally, we get to where we're in a position to win nationals, and she's demotivated. Okay, so even the best in the entire world have problems with motivation. Okay, so before I talk more on it, I want to define it. Okay, so I defined potential. Now I'm going to define motivation. Now, don't worry, these are the only real notes I have for this talk. So we'll go to Q&A after I get through my initial piece. So the definition of motivation is the reason or reasons one has for acting or behaving in a particular way. Second definition is the general desire or willingness of someone to do something, right? So, where the heck does motivation even come from in the first place? Why are some people seemingly so driven, so passionate, and so focused, and other people love to ride the couch? Let's first talk about two kinds of motivation. One is extrinsic, one is intrinsic. For a lot of people, this would be the majority of people that I work with, their motivations tend to be extrinsic. Extrinsic is like, when I used to have a gym and I would run 6-week challenges, right? People wanted to lose weight in 6 weeks. So they joined the challenge and they were motivated by the coaches in the challenge and the other people. But when 6 weeks ended, if they didn't sign up for a membership or sign up for another challenge, they would lose motivation. Why? Because it was all extrinsic. Now, extrinsic motivation is not bad, so don't take it that way, okay? Extrinsic motivation is a tool, okay? So I'll give you an example. I still use some extrinsic motivation to accomplish certain things. One of the things I help my clients with is ingraining habits. Sometimes it takes another person to help ingrain a habit. So one thing that I've been slacking on lately is writing. And believe it or not, I actually am a pretty good writer. I've done some pretty good pieces for business writing, not just advertisements, but emails and websites and all kinds of stuff. But it's a skill that needs to be practiced. So when I was going to the drawing board and thinking about things that I wanted to work on, writing was the one that I wanted to work on consistently. So I committed to 90 days of writing every single morning. And I have somebody, a coach, holding me accountable to do that. Now, my hand is already sore. Okay. I haven't written by hand since I was in college, and we'll see. I know this is going to be very tough, but what I'm going to do in the next 90 days is turn the extrinsic motivator, the coach, into intrinsic motivation. I'm intrinsically motivated just by nature, I believe. That's why I teach it. But one of the things that I get my clients to do is exactly what I'm doing with this writing example is, man, I need help doing it. Okay. So I need extrinsic motivation, but the goal is to actually force it into me to become intrinsic. Okay. Now that intrinsic is out of the way, if you think about motivation and you're intrinsically motivated to do something all the time, man, that's more powerful because it doesn't require anybody else. It's all you. It's all from within. Okay. And there are certain hacks to do it. And I'm going to go over those in a second. But I have to give my classic success and motivation talk before I go into some motivation hacks. Okay. Everybody thinks you just like create some goal, right? The goal is out here. It's on the pedestal, right? And everybody just thinks because we made that goal, we're automatically motivated to get to that goal. And it's not necessarily the case, okay? It's actually inversely related. Some people can do it that way. So what I do with my clients is I get them to have little mini successes as soon as possible, right? Because they're inversely related. Okay. So let's think back to when I used to be a personal trainer, right? If somebody squatted properly, I would celebrate that win. Even though their goal was to squat 315 pounds, I didn't say, well, we're not going to celebrate the success until we get to the end goal. That doesn't work, right? But as soon as somebody's successful with something, you can apply this to anything, apply this to business. You got a goal, like a lot of my clients do, of doing 100K months. Okay. Well, if you're only at 10K right now, the first time you get to 15K, that's a celebration, right? That's a success celebration. And guess what? You're going to be more motivated not to drop below 15K ever again than you are going to be to get to 100K. Why? Because once you get to 100K, the goals change. Now you're going to want to do 150. Then you're going to want to do 200 because business owners never stop moving the goal. So we have to focus on the process. And part of focusing on the process is celebrating little wins. So that's the hack, right? If you can successfully move from extrinsic to intrinsic motivation, celebrate little wins in order to keep the snowball moving. Motivation goes either way. This is a conversation I have with my clients all the time. So once you develop a little momentum, right, the snowball is building. It's like physics. An object in motion stays in motion, but with motivation, it's going to keep moving in either direction. So if you like positive momentum, positive motivation, you can fuel that and continue it in the direction that you want to go. On the flip side, if you let it go and you let your bad habits start coming back in, you don't do what it takes to get your 15K month. You start focusing on other things, right? You let the old habits come back in. Guess what? You just snowballed that motivation in the other direction. And now you're back to the bottom. You're trying to scrape your way out of the hole again. Okay. So let's shift into our why, okay, which is really our passion. Now, I am not one of these coaches that says, find your passion, find your purpose. I don't actually agree with that. And here's why. I've done a lot of deep work personally, and I suggest you do too. But one of the things that I've discovered about myself is that I love variety. Okay. And there are ways to keep me focused and keep me motivated with certain things. But if I don't have new stuff that I'm learning, that I'm growing, I get bored, right? So passions to me can change. They can evolve throughout somebody's life. How many times have you heard a story of somebody who's in their 50s or 60s who got a great job out of college or out of grad school, and they stuck with it? This is more rare now, but they stuck with it the whole time. Now they're on a pension, but guess what? They're not passionate about it. They're miserable, but they just stuck with it to get the pension, right? So a lot of balance in their life is off. But I've actually seen a lot of people stick with it through the end, but still find ways to be passionate about other stuff and continue to be motivated by the boring path that they've chosen without changing course. So that's why I'm not in the camp of follow your passion and find your purpose. Your purpose is deeper than your passion. Okay. Your purpose can change too, right? My purpose in life is to coach other people to have a breakthrough, right? Now that's been pretty consistent for a long time. The thing about me is I'm a constant coach, and this is almost to a fault. I love to help people. I'm even doing this free live stream right now. I'm not getting paid to do this. It's because I love to do it. And I know I'm looking at the comments right now. It's lighting up. It's reaching a lot of people. Why? I've actually had this exact same talk with hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of other clients, and they get lit up by it every single time. And guess what? It makes me feel good too, because even if one little nugget that I just said inspires somebody, or maybe even gives them permission to continue doing what they're doing or not change, that is meaningful to me. So my purpose in life is to help others find a breakthrough, have these light bulb moments. I can do that in so many different categories, right? I did it as a coach, a fitness coach. I do it as a husband. I do it as a dad, right? And in this context, I'm doing it as a coach consultant where I'm helping other entrepreneurs, but it's passionate for me because I'm just guiding people to follow in my footsteps, because I've found so much stuff that actually works. And it's so tried and true that it works for so many other people that I can get light bulbs over and over and over again, right? To the point where if somebody pays me 10 or 20 grand, I'm giving them so much more value than that for their life because it's so applicable for years and years and years to come. So maybe my program or one of my consulting offers costs 10, 20, 30 grand. They pay me that. That's great. That helps my family exist. But then they get 100K of value or 300K of value out of it because they used that information for years and years and years to come. Or maybe one of my biohacking things helped somebody avoid metabolic disease. This has happened over and over and over again. This is great. Okay. Now back to this passion thing, finding your passion, finding your purpose. A lot of people go to college to find themselves, and that's okay. But and I went to college, and that was fine. But I really believe in pursuing various opportunities. The worst thing that you can do is stay in your comfort zone. So if you guys have never sung before, go take singing lessons, right? And this is from somebody who has not sung before, but literally last night I was asking my wife, what would you think if I went and took singing lessons? She was like, you don't have a musical tone in your body. And I was like, well, that's a limiting belief, because she knows that I have these discussions with entrepreneurs everywhere. But it was just kind of funny. But what I'm saying is you're not going to discover your purpose and your passion until you try all kinds of different things. The cool part about entrepreneurship is you can change it, you can evolve it, it can move and shift with you. Even in the years and years and years that I owned a gym, you'd think that I was stuck. No, I was not, because I had every type of gym you could imagine, right? We at one point were affiliated with CrossFit. At another point, all we did was sports performance. At another point, all we did was fat loss. We had nutritionists. We had chiropractors. We had cutting edge hydrostatic body fat testing in the gym, right? So these were just different ways, but I was constantly testing the market. But the common theme was I was helping people have light bulbs. It was great. You can do the same thing. And guess what? We're in an unprecedented time right now where it's pretty easy and cheap to launch a business, right? You can do it right here. And if you're in this group, you probably already have it. You already know what I'm saying, but it's so cheap to do it now. You know, back in the day, it would have cost millions of dollars just to test the market, right? But you might have some cool new idea that the market hasn't heard of. And for just a few $1,000s, you can test your market on social media. So it's very, very cool. So anyway, to me, finding passion, finding purpose is about testing different things. If you're an entrepreneur, you can test different businesses, right? I have 3 companies that are running right now, not including my consulting, right? So technically 4. Okay. I do it all with very little time because I love the work. Now, I want to get back to the deep work that I was talking about. I have taken probably every single personality test that I am aware of. There's actually one that is new to me, and it's deeper than just personality, but that's the next one I'm going to do. You would think that's enough information for me, taking every single personality test, but it's not. Why? Because I need to know myself. I want to know my strengths, my weaknesses, what I need to work on personally, interpersonally with other people. Then I track every single thing religiously, right? And I'm not like OCD. I don't believe in labels anyway. But you guys that have heard my other live streams know that whatever gets tracked gets managed. That's an old adage, okay? So what about tracking the way I feel at the end of the workday before I go home? Or right now, home is 20 feet away because my office is in my house now. What if I track the way I feel and I change my state so that I can be more present for my family, right? And if I'm tracking it and, you know, I'm ranking my day and I get like 1s and 2s and 1s and 2s, and then I go to be with my family and I'm a total dick, well, something is there with the tracking because I'm journaling it, and then I can analyze it and figure it out, right? Now, for those of you guys that are beginners, just journaling is helpful for this. But The reason that I do this is because I learned to anticipate different change in seasons. And when I talk about seasons, I'm not talking about fall, about winter. That's not what I'm saying. Seasons of life. Okay. So when I was closing my gym, that was a season and it was stressful at the time. But then I launched some other companies and it was a risk, right? And I spent thousands of dollars to do it. And luckily, I've been in this long enough that it kind of panned out. But the new season was rebuilding again. The first 2 years building my gym were frankly hell, right? Those guys that watched some of my other content, you know that I used to work from 5 a.m. to 9 p.m. My record for training clients was 13 straight. It wasn't a good season, okay? When I was a hockey coach, I was with the same group of kids for about 5 years. So it wasn't just the kids that developed bonds there. The parents did too. And then it became time for them to kind of spread out and move on. This was an elite team. So it was time for them to go up to the next level. It was the end of a season, not the hockey season, but the season in life, right? Where this group had come together. It was the end of an era. So when you learn to recognize and anticipate stuff like that, then you can go into rebuilding the next era. And this is really, really, really important just to understand the concept when we're talking about motivation, your focus, your passion, and your drive. Because if you're not constantly adapting and constantly growing and anticipating these things, you can't hack your motivation. It's impossible. You get stale. Getting stale is like dying, right? The old adage again is if we're not growing, we're dying. I am constantly analyzing this stuff. If something is dry, is it as easy as me delegating it to a staff member? Or is it something that I need to remove myself up from completely and take another path, right? When I was growing up, I would change my room around, like the furniture around all the time. And it drove my parents insane. But it was like, it got stale. So just changing my environment would invigorate me again. So these are just little hacks, right? As you can see, I'm very, very passionate about this subject because so many times I find that people have these terrible mindset issues around motivation. I just don't feel motivated. I procrastinate all the time. I just don't have any energy. But if we get into some of this deep work and we explore our passions, we can snap out of that right away. We can wake up every day and have a morning routine that gets us charged up and ready to take on the day so that we're motivated to take on anything, right? This is something I teach my clients, okay? So if we're not passionate about something, it's very hard to be driven, right? Let's say back to the example of the guy who's been with the same company since he got out of school and now he's about to retire. Well, he can explore passions in other areas while be driven in his corporate path. That's okay. I'm not one of these entrepreneurs that thinks that entrepreneurship is for everybody because it's not. It's really, really hard. And some of my staff over the years have been the best people ever. And there have been some times where I just wished that I did that, right? But it's not for me because I would have to change too much. So it's okay if you don't love what you do. There's other ways to get motivated around it. And it starts with exploration and understanding yourself. Okay. I don't want to beat this horse to death. So I'm going to check my Zoom really quick, see if there's any questions. No questions on my Zoom feed? Fine. Okay. And I got some comments over here on Facebook. Let's see. Ooh, Robert says, I need help getting charged in the morning. Okay. Well, I would love to dive into that more. It starts with making sure that you wake up early to get the things done that you need to get done. So if, for example, you know that you like to stretch in the morning, but you roll out of bed and go like straight to driving your kids to school or straight into the office, then you're not allowing yourself that time. So my morning routine, it Well, I get up pretty early, you guys. I get up at 4:30, and that's just been kind of ingrained in me. I don't suggest that everybody does that, but most people don't wake up early enough to actually charge up. Now, for the morning routine, I like to think of it as if you were to go on a road trip and you had a quarter tank of gas, would you just go at it anyway? Especially if you were like driving through Kansas or Wyoming and there's like, you might not see a gas station. No, you would never, ever, ever do that. Okay. You go to the gas station. Your morning routine is like getting gas. If you have a hybrid, it is like charging your batteries. Okay. You would not embark on that journey without first stopping for gas or making sure that your batteries were charged. So, morning routines typically involve vision review. If you don't know where you're going, that's the first step, is to figure out where you want to go, right? And the vision review isn't just about your business. It is partially, it's about where you want your family to go, right? Where you want to go with your friends. All the things that you want to have come true, it needs to be reviewed, because if you don't review it, you don't remember it, you can't build the habits. So my clients just make a simple Google Doc, and I have a template for it in my workshop. So after the vision review, it's some kind of a physiological charge up. Some of my clients are working out first thing in the morning. I'm not one of them. I actually don't like to exercise until later on in the day. I use it as a way to charge myself back up mid-morning because I wake up so early. But something I do physiologically is like maybe a quick stretch or some breath work. Breath work is really good for charging you up. But the vision review is number one. But yeah, I have everybody that does everything from doing yoga in the morning to intense breath work to full-on training sessions, whatever it is that's actually going to get you going. And this is all pre-coffee, you guys. So there's a time and place for coffee, but you don't need it at this portion of the day, because you can just get jacked up reviewing where you want to go in your life. And if you add a little bit of breath work to that, oh man, you're off to the races. So, all right, I'm checking the questions again. Doesn't look like I have any more. So listen, guys, this is a lot of what I do. This is the beginning of the first few weeks when I start working with a new entrepreneur. Okay. Or if you're not an entrepreneur, same thing. High performing professional. If this stuff is like kind of interesting to you, you want more of the tactics, jump in on a call with me. Okay. So you can either comment below, I want to do a call, or just shoot me a DM. Hopefully if you're in this group, then you've already added me as a friend. Shoot me a DM. Let me know you want to jump on a call. If we need to further this conversation and you're going to become a client of mine, that's great. We'll have that conversation at the end. But at the beginning, all I really want to do is grill you to see where you're at. And I'll give you some actionable steps in any case. I did a great call yesterday with somebody from this group, and it wasn't that they were a bad fit for my coaching. It just wasn't yet ready. So we agreed we were going to circle back in 3 to 6 months after she had implemented some of the stuff that I suggested. And that's the plan. I think she will be a great fit in the future. So that might be you too. So if you don't have this conversation, you're never going to know. Okay. So anyway, if you want to jump on a call, let me know. If not, I would review this video a few times because there was a lot of information and it was pretty dense, and you might have missed it the first time. So get into it, enjoy it, find your passion, find your purpose, and unlock your potential. You know how I feel about that word. Have a good Wednesday, everybody.